While you're still wiping the sleep from your eyes, there's a small group of people already building empires before sunrise. Because in 2025, the morning doesn't just set the tone for the day. It's making people rich beyond imagination. The question is, are you awake yet? Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of wealth and wisdom, allow me to illuminate a truth that the world often overlooks. The way you greet the morning sets the course for your life. Each day, as dawn breaks across the horizon and light spills into the world, it brings with it a silent opportunity, an invitation to design your destiny. In the quiet hours before the noise of the world takes hold, the rich of 2025 are crafting fortunes not by accident, not by inheritance, but by deliberate design. They rise not because they must, but because they choose to. And that choice, repeated day after day, builds the staircase to prosperity. Their alarm is not an annoyance, it is a call to greatness. They do not meet the morning groggy and reluctant, but with the fire of intention. Before their feet hit the floor, they have already begun shaping their day with thought. They lie still for a moment, not in laziness but in reflection, asking themselves powerful questions. What shall I achieve today? What value will I create? Whose life will I touch? The answers do not always come immediately, but the act of asking sharpens their mind like a blade. They do not reach for their phones to scroll mindlessly through the distractions of others' lives. No, these individuals have come to understand that attention is wealth. Where the attention flows, energy grows. So they protect their mornings like sacred ground, knowing that if they allow chaos in too early, it will shape their decisions for the rest of the day. Instead, they direct their focus inward and then upward, to their goals, their visions, their deepest why. They rise from bed not out of habit, but with ceremony. The day is not to be endured, it is to be conquered. They begin by commanding the body, for they know that physical motion precedes emotional momentum. Whether it is 5 minutes or 50, they move. Push-ups on the cold floor, a silent run before the city awakens, stretches that realign the spine and spirit. Every act of movement is a declaration. I am alive, I am capable, I am ready. This is not fitness for vanity, but discipline for vitality. The rich do not wait to feel motivated. They move and create the motivation. Their sweat is a contract with themselves, written not in ink but in effort. Through this morning ritual, they teach their bodies and minds that discomfort is not the enemy, stagnation is. In this daily battle between ease and excellence, they choose excellence before breakfast. With blood flowing and lungs full, they nourish their minds. They open the pages of books not to be entertained, but to be elevated. They devour biographies of those who came before, principles that outlast generations, wisdom that is older than empires. One idea, just one, can shift the course of a life, so they collect ideas like treasures, not for display, but for deployment. And as they read, they also write. A simple notebook becomes the laboratory of their mind. They record not only what they learn, but what they feel. They track progress. They express gratitude. They declare intentions. They capture lessons. This writing is not an act of art, but of architecture, laying brick upon brick in the mansion of their future. Every line penned is a whisper to the subconscious. This is who I am becoming. Some of them sit in stillness, eyes closed, breath measured. They meditate, not as monks on mountaintops, but as warriors preparing for battle. They seek the calm beneath the noise, the anchor beneath the waves. In that silence, ideas come uninvited. Solutions emerge, doubt dissolves, for in stillness they commune with their highest selves, and the answers they need are often already within them. This, then, is the true routine, not a checklist, but a choreography of intention. It is not about what they do, but who they become by doing it. They do not perform these acts because they are rich. They are rich because they perform these acts. Rich in money, yes, but also in clarity, confidence, and conviction. They move through the rest of the day with a magnetism that others can feel but cannot name. Their presence speaks of purpose. Their actions declare determination. Their morning routine does not end when they leave the house. It echoes throughout their decisions, the deals they make, the people they connect with, the problems they solve. All are shaped by the foundation they laid before the sun had fully risen. They are already winning before the world has caught up. They do not stumble into success, they structure it, and they are not perfect. They miss days, they falter, but they return, always they return, because they have tasted the power of owning their morning and they refuse to surrender it. They have discovered that discipline is not a cage, but a key to freedom, a key to fulfillment, a key to fortune. And once that key has turned in the lock, once the door to potential has opened even a crack, no truly awakened soul is content to close it again. They do not chase motivation, they generate it. Every act in the morning routine is a charge to their inner battery. They do not hope for energy, they build it. They do not pray for time, they create it through priority. They do not wonder if the day will be productive, they make it so by showing up prepared. When the world sees their success, they see only the tip of the iceberg. The headlines, the numbers, the applause, these are but reflections of the unseen, the quiet minutes, the silent battles, the unseen choices made when no one was watching. For that is where wealth is born, in solitude, in sweat, in silence. To the outsider, this routine may seem excessive, but to those who live it, it is essential. They are not consumed by it, they are created by it, and the wealth they accumulate is not just currency, it is competence, it is confidence, it is control. They are rich because they understand that a man who owns his morning owns his life. In 2025, with the pace of life accelerating and distractions multiplying, those who discipline their mornings are the ones who dominate their industries, their environments, and their emotions. While others snooze alarms, they awaken dreams. While others scroll, they strategize. While others react, they initiate. They do not drift into their futures, they design them brick by brick, day by day. And the first brick is laid each morning in the quiet hours when the world is still asleep. That is when giants are made. They understand that the morning is not just a time, it is a philosophy. It is a decision to take the reins of one's life and say, today I build, today I grow, today I win. They do not wait for the world to give them a sign, they become the sign. They do not wait for conditions to be perfect. They create conditions through commitment. Their morning is not rushed, it is intentional. Every action has purpose. Every moment is invested, not spent. They guard their routine the way a jeweler guards a diamond, because they know its value, even if the world does not. And so, as the sun rises each day in 2025, a quiet revolution is underway. Not on social media, not in headlines, but in bedrooms and living rooms and quiet corners where disciplined souls rise early to shape their minds, strengthen their bodies, and set fire to their visions. This morning routine, this seemingly ordinary sequence of actions, is making people rich, not just in money but in mastery. Those who adopt it, refine it, and commit to it are discovering a truth that has always existed, but is now more urgent than ever. Success is not an event. It is a process, a pattern, a morning routine, and those who master the morning will own the future. They know the world offers no guarantees, only opportunities, and opportunity favors not the strongest, nor the most gifted, but the most prepared. Preparation is the soil in which fortune grows. That is why these individuals begin their day before the rest of the world stirs, not in hope of a miracle, but to become the miracle. They are not waiting for inspiration to strike them like lightning. They are building a lightning rod with every morning ritual. They make their coffee or their tea not in haste, but with mindfulness. Even in the mundane acts, there is presence. That presence spills over into every decision they make. As they sip, they reflect, not on what they lack, but on what they have, and more importantly, what they can become. This act of presence may seem trivial to the unaware, but to the successful, it is a sacred moment. It is a practice in clarity, because clarity, not motivation, is what moves mountains. They do not merely go through the motions. They elevate the ordinary. When they shave, they are not just grooming. They are preparing their armor. When they dress, it is not just for fashion. It is a signal to themselves that today matters. Every detail is a declaration. Every action, no matter how small, is infused with the energy of intent, and intent is the master key that unlocks achievement. They feed their minds, but they also feed their bodies. They eat to fuel, not to numb. Their meals are designed to support their output, not dull their senses. They understand that the body, when treated with respect, becomes a partner in success, and when neglected, it becomes a saboteur. So they eat with purpose, train with purpose, live with purpose. You may wonder what separates these individuals from the masses. It is not money, it is not luck, it is a decision made each morning not to drift but to drive. A decision to direct their attention, not scatter it. A decision to lead their lives, not merely react to them. This decision, simple and small as it seems, is what is making them rich. Not in a year, not in a decade, but in each passing day. Wealth is not the reward, it is the reflection. They speak their affirmations not as empty mantras, but as powerful incantations. They say what they intend to become until their voice carries the certainty of truth. I am disciplined, I am focused, I am a magnet for opportunity, I create value, I attract abundance. These words are not magic. They are commands to the subconscious, which obeys without hesitation. For the subconscious mind is the soil of success. Whatever is planted there, repeatedly and with emotion, will grow. These individuals have discovered that their thoughts are not private, they are prophetic. Think consistently enough about wealth, and you begin to see wealth building ideas. Think often enough about solutions, and they start to appear. Thought is the origin of wealth. Morning is the forge. They do not wait for a crisis to change. They lead change. They do not wait for the economy to shift in their favor. They shift their mindset until the economy obeys. They understand that external circumstances are never as powerful as internal certainties. And those certainties are forged hour by hour, thought by thought, in the early silence of the day. When others wake up with anxiety, they rise with anticipation. When others complain of lack of time, they own their time like kings. Their calendar is not a cage, it is a castle. Each block of time is protected, assigned, and respected. Their to-do lists are not burdens, they are blueprints of creation. They are not overwhelmed, they are aligned. There is no magic to this, only mastery, and mastery is born from repetition. They know that one powerful morning routine practiced once means nothing, but practiced daily it becomes a force of nature. The brain, the body, the emotions all begin to conspire together to create outcomes that others call luck. But it is not luck, it is law, the law of cause and effect, the law of sowing and reaping, the law of momentum. Every great fortune ever amassed, every empire ever built, every legacy ever left. It all began with a morning where someone decided, today I show up for my destiny. And the best part, this routine is not for the elite. It is not gated by money or status. It is available to every soul who chooses discipline over delay, vision over vagueness, and intention over impulse. It costs nothing but commitment, and yet it yields everything. They do not fear failure because their mornings have trained them to persevere. They do not chase trends because their mornings have anchored them in principles. They do not need applause because their mornings give them inner validation. Their cup is filled before they ever step into the world. And so, by the time the world sees them, sharp, decisive, confident, inspired, it does not realize it is witnessing the final act. The real magic happened in the early hours, in silence, in sweat, in solitude. The external wealth is merely the shadow of their internal rituals. In 2025, with distractions more abundant than ever, the few who master their mornings are the ones carving out uncommon lives. These are not superhumans. They are simply consistent humans, humans who have realized that the morning is the one part of the day the world cannot steal. Unless you give it away, they have seen the compound effect of a 5 a.m. wake-up call. Not for punishment, but for preparation. They have felt the difference between reacting to life and creating it. They have tested the formula, and it works. It works in tech startups, in real estate empires, in online businesses, in classrooms, in boardrooms, and in kitchens. It works because it is not tied to circumstances, but to character. They have found freedom in structure, power in repetition, wealth in stillness. These things sound simple, almost too simple for those seeking a secret formula. But success rarely hides in complexity. It hides in consistency, and that consistency is born each morning. They do not envy the successful. They study them. They do not dream vaguely. They visualize specifically. They do not wish for change. They act in alignment with it. Their journals are filled with visions turned to plans, and plans turned to actions. Every morning is a checkpoint. Am I becoming who I said I would be? And when the answer is yes, day after day, wealth becomes inevitable. The numbers in the bank account rise, the doors open, the opportunities flood in, but they are not surprised. They prepared for this. They rehearsed it each morning. The external success is just a photograph of the internal process. There is no fanfare in the beginning, no applause when you stretch in silence, no praise when you write your intentions before dawn. But those acts repeated, refined, revered, create the foundation upon which empires are built. The richest people in 2025 are not those who discovered a shortcut. They are the ones who discovered the morning. They do not negotiate with the alarm clock. They do not snooze their way through opportunity. Every time they rise when it is hard, they tell the world, I am in charge. That declaration, though silent, changes the trajectory of the entire day. Because discipline is not just about doing what you said you'd do. It's about becoming the kind of person who always follows through. That identity is sculpted one morning at a time. When they step out into the world, they carry an invisible armor. Their competitors feel it, their clients feel it, their families feel it. It's not bravado, it's certainty, the kind of certainty that cannot be faked or borrowed. It comes only from living in alignment, from showing up in private as powerfully as they do in public, from honoring promises made not to others, but to themselves. There are no shortcuts in this philosophy, only sacred habits. Some journal for clarity. Others review their goals aloud. Some recite powerful affirmations in the mirror, meeting their own eyes with the authority of one who leads nations. They do this not for motivation, but to anchor identity. Because when you see yourself clearly, the world begins to follow your lead. They choose their thoughts with as much care as they choose their investments. They curate their morning input with the precision of an artist selecting colors. No gossip, no chaos, no passivity, only the ideas that serve, only the voices that lift, only the visions that grow. They know that before they build wealth in the physical world, they must first construct it in the mental one. In those early hours, before emails flood in and demands stack up, they have space. Not just space on a calendar, but mental space, emotional space, creative space. And in that space, they strategize. They make decisions not from urgency, but from vision. They don't just plan what to do today. They plan who to become this week, this month, this year. They don't merely hope things will get better. They architect the improvement. They sit with spreadsheets and dream boards. They review numbers and recalibrate goals. They track trends, adjust approaches, revisit priorities. They are not rigid, but they are relentless. If a strategy fails, they don't abandon the morning. They refine it because the routine is not about perfection, it is about power, and power, properly channeled, builds fortunes. They are not romantic about effort. They know effort is not enough. What matters is intentional effort. Strategic action, not hustle for the sake of motion, but movement aligned with purpose. Their mornings help them reconnect to that purpose every single day. They do not allow a single sunrise to pass without orienting themselves toward their true north. They also know that wealth, true wealth, includes peace. So they use their mornings to create emotional stability. They release what no longer serves them. They forgive quickly, detach from drama, and root themselves in gratitude. Not because it's trendy, but because bitterness is expensive and they refuse to let resentment cost them their future. These people don't ask, "What can I get today?" They ask, "What can I give?" Because the wealthy in 2025 are not just accumulators. They are value creators, and they understand the law: the more value you give, the more wealth flows back to you. That is why their morning often includes outreach, service, and thinking about how to elevate others. They are rich in spirit before they are rich in dollars. You may look at their lives and see assets, investments, and freedom, but beneath it all, you will find a stack of early mornings, each one a building block. You will find years of waking up when no one else did, reading when others watched TV, reflecting while others complained, creating when others consumed. You will see a pattern not of luck, but of leveraged time. They rise early not because they want to brag, but because they refuse to lose, and the battle is always won before it begins. They understand what the world still resists, that the war for wealth is not fought in boardrooms or stock markets. It is fought in the mind, in the spirit, and in the early hours of the day. Even on their worst days, they return to the ritual. They know the morning is not always glamorous. Some days it feels mechanical. Some days they feel no spark, but they do it anyway because the rich do not serve their feelings, they serve their future. And by doing so, they rewire their identity every day to match their goals. This is why their confidence is unshakable, not because everything always goes according to plan, but because they trust themselves to adapt, to respond, to rise. And that trust is built through hundreds, even thousands of mornings where they did what they said they would do. Look closely at those whose lives seem charmed. Peel back the curtain. You will find mornings. You will find routines. You will find solitude, silence, stillness. And then the spark. That spark becomes movement. That movement becomes mastery. That mastery becomes wealth. And what of those who say they don't have time? The rich do not find time, they make time, because they understand that the clock is not a tyrant. It is a tool, and how you wield it each morning determines whether you become a builder of empires or a victim of distraction. They do not need luck, nor do they fear setbacks. They know mornings make momentum, and momentum makes miracles. They believe in the unseen power of showing up, day after day, when nobody is watching. Because the results are not instant, but they are inevitable, the markets may rise and fall, trends may come and go, but a fortified mind, a clear vision, and a consistent routine are untouchable. That is why the wealthy of 2025 are untouchable. Not because they have what others do not, but because they do what others will not. And every morning, as they lace their shoes, fill their journals, command their thoughts, and invest their energy with intention, they are reminded of one eternal truth. Success is not something you chase. It is something you attract by the person you become. They do not rise with dread, they rise with dominion. Each morning is their proving ground, a sacred time to recalibrate, refocus, and recommit. They do not stumble into the day reacting to its demands. They enter it with resolve, carrying a blueprint shaped in silence, While others start behind the curve, these individuals have already moved miles ahead in the stillness of dawn. There's a fire that burns within them. It is not born from caffeine or external praise. It comes from alignment, from knowing, deep in their bones, that they are living according to their highest self. Their routines are not chains, but keys, unlocking discipline, awakening creativity, anchoring them to greatness. And as that fire grows, so too does their wealth, not because they chase money, but because they embody the kind of person who attracts it effortlessly. They understand the compounding power of days stacked with purpose. 10 purposeful mornings become a month of progress. 12 months become a year of transformation. 5 years of such mornings can create a legacy that lasts generations. These individuals don't think in days, they think in decades. And yet, they win the decade one sunrise at a time. When you watch them speak in meetings or close deals or lead movements, it's tempting to believe they were simply born with something special. But what you don't see is the foundation under their feet, those quiet hours where they rewired their thinking, healed their wounds, set their standards, and committed to excellence with no audience. Their public power is the fruit. The morning routine is the root. Their minds are temples. Their calendars are declarations. Their intentions are weapons sharpened with precision. Each morning they revisit their mission, not to recite it, but to relive it. To remind themselves why they began, why they sacrificed, why they rose before the sun when no one clapped. In doing so, they stoke the furnace of vision that cannot be extinguished by circumstance. They are not afraid to be alone in the quiet. Because in that quiet they remember who they are becoming, they ask the hard questions, they look themselves in the mirror, not with shame but with scrutiny. Am I honoring the calling placed on my life? Am I showing up with the fire I promised myself? Am I still climbing? Some meditate, some pray, some write, others visualize. It does not matter the form, it matters that they connect to their source. Whether that source is spiritual, mental, emotional, or all three, they know the world cannot offer what the soul does not first receive. They lead themselves before they attempt to lead others, and yes, they sweat. Because physical movement is not just about health. It is a declaration. I move my body, therefore I move my life. They don't work out to look a certain way. They train to become a certain kind of person. Strong, focused, disciplined, energetic, capable, their energy is not a luxury. It is a requirement for the magnitude of the life they are building. They may run in the dark while the city sleeps. They may lift weights while the world complains. They may do breathwork in silence while others scroll through feeds. To an outsider, it looks unnecessary. To them, it is oxygen. They are preparing for the world to test them, and when it does, they will not break. They will rise. These individuals understand that money is simply a byproduct of value, and value comes from who you are. That is why their mornings are not transactional. They are transformational. They are building not just habits, but identities. Every repetition, every thought, every decision reinforces the story they tell themselves about who they are. And once that story becomes fixed, their external world bends to match it. You see, this is the real reason the morning routine is making people rich in 2025, because it forces a shift in identity. And when your identity changes, your actions follow. And when your actions follow, your results multiply. Identity is the real currency, and the morning is where it is minted. They no longer wait to feel motivated. They've trained themselves to act first. They know that motion creates emotion, not the other way around. That's why they don't indulge in the drama of delay. They wake, they act, they progress. In that simple formula lies their power. They understand too that wealth is holistic. It is financial, yes, but also mental, relational, and spiritual. Their morning routines touch every part of this spectrum. They check their finances, not from fear, but with clarity. They send messages of love or gratitude to those they care for, not out of obligation, but alignment. They speak words of abundance and peace over their own lives, not because they are pretending, but because they are programming. The wealthy in 2025 are not perfect, but they are intentional. They don't drift, they decide. They don't mimic, they design. They don't wait, they initiate. And every morning, without fail, they return to the altar of their own becoming. This is not a trend. This is a revolution of responsibility. It is the quiet revolution, no fanfare, no hashtags, just consistent, deliberate mornings that shape legends. If you study the biographies of titans, the letters of inventors, the journals of revolutionaries, you will find this common thread. A rhythm, a routine, a non-negotiable sacred time carved out to honor growth, prepare the mind, and direct the day. This is the edge the world overlooks. In an age where speed is idolized and shortcuts are sought, the truly wealthy are returning to depth, to stillness, to mastery. They are less interested in what's trending and more invested in what's timeless. And the morning routine, refined, sacred, unshakable, is timeless. This is why, while others scramble for tactics, these individuals invest in principles. While others binge content, they create content. While others chase hacks, they build systems. Because they have learned, through experience and reflection, that your morning does not just influence your day, it creates it. And your days create your life. So they protect the morning as their highest leverage point. They treat it with reverence, because in it lies the seed of every breakthrough, the foundation of every fortune, the spark of every revolution.